The most overrated coach in college football right now is Caleb Calhoun. We discussed this at 3:15 this morning in the production meeting. We said to ourselves, we're not going to share names before the show. We're going to do the show not in the parking lot, but live right there in front of everybody. Somebody's already taken mine, and it's Ryan Day of Ohio State. So I got to go first. Ha, ha, ha.
Hey now.
I'm going Ryan Day of Arkansas of Ohio State, and I challenge somebody to beat me on that one. But we have a Beamer vote, which I would have said last November before he beat Clemson and Tennessee, but I have retracted that stance.
And also this isn't a debate about which coaches we don't believe in, because no one believed in Beamer. No one's overrating Shane Beamer, honestly. So
right.
Yeah,
right. If Beamer's at all good, then he can't be overrated. Here's a thought on Steve Sarkisian, perhaps at Texas. That's a pretty good one.
Steve Sarkisian's in my top 3.
Oh, we got a top 3. Before we get to that, let me tell everybody you have to go to crafttreats.com. We're getting ready to get some puppies, and I can't wait to get the chill pills to get them chill, because I haven't had puppies in a long time. We're getting 2. My wife's talked me into it. And with the chill pills, they've got the CBD derivative, and it can help with their anxiety. And they're going to have some because they're Yorkies. And they're also going to, it'll help with arthritis one day when they get old. And I'll cry again like I lost my last dog a couple weeks ago. And, but with the Craft Treats, use the promo code off the hook, and you get 20% off any of their products, CBD or not. So go to crafttreats.com, use the promo code off the hook. So what are your 3, Caleb? The big 3. Caleb brings it each and every day to the program. Your big 3 top overrated coaches in college football.
So number 3 is Dion Sanders. And the only reason I say he's not higher is I don't know if he's being rated. I don't know if he's gotten the same level of love yet as the other 2 people I'm about to name. But again, he's getting praised for winning a championship at Jackson State when he used his name and NIL collectives at Jackson State to get what otherwise would be Division I players to go there. And so he had Division I players against a bunch of other Division II schools. Of course, he was going to go 9-1, 10-0.
Okay, so I want to inspect one at a time. So are you saying that Dion will not have success at Colorado? Are you saying he's not a good coach, or is he just gotten so much promotion because of his name there's no way he can live up to that?
I think he's gotten so much promotion because of his name. There's no way he can live up to that, particularly at Colorado. So yes, I think he's overrated.
Using that definition, there is nobody more overrated in all of coaching right now. I mean, he hasn't done anything.
Nothing.
I mean, you can pick NBA, you can pick Major League Baseball, we can go down to managers, whatever you want. But using that definition, it's Dion and everybody else. Now, he could prove us both wrong. We agree with that, right?
Right. Yes, he could.
Okay. So who else?
I need Deion Sanders should be an agent. I need to learn from Deion Sanders how to make people love you so much.
Yes. All right. So who else is in Caleb's top 3?
Okay. Number 2 is Steve Sarkisian. And I continue to believe Steve Sarkisian is overrated. And I don't know what it's going to take to change people's minds on this, but that was his second year at Texas last year, and it wasn't that special. Usually your second year is a year, particularly at a school like Texas, is when you can explode. So I got Steve Sarkisian at number 2. You disagree? Do you think he's good?
Well, I don't know. He derailed his life for a while and his career with the alcohol problems. I think what he's done in terms of recruiting, but that could be a lot of NIL, but it wasn't with Arch Manning, so he was able to get him. So I'm impressed. He's got Nick Saban's respect because he went through that coaching rehab, no pun intended. So kudos to that. Caleb, I'm not sure yet. So I hear too many good things from the coaching community about him. So I'm going to withhold judgment right now. But
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if you're right in a couple years. Oh, vote for Jimbo Fisher.
Last year, Jimbo Fisher was overrated. He's not overrated anymore. I think most people agree he's a bad coach now, or what?
But how about as a whole in his career? If he doesn't have Jameis Winston, he's not winning a national title, and he's not signing $100 million.
I mean,
contract.
He's absolutely the most overpaid coach in the history of college sports, like by a long shot too. No one like that. That was insane that he got that, but I don't consider him overrated anymore because I think that people are down on him now. No, my number one is another rehabbed Nick Saban assistant.
It's Butch Jones.
No, it's not.
He's not.
Mario Cristobal.
You do not like Mario Cristobal. The peeps in Tuscaloosa at one point thought he would be Nick Saban's replacement, but they also thought that at Mel Tucker. The people I talked to in Tuscaloosa think that if Nick Saban left tomorrow, it would be Cristobal. But they thought that about Mel Tucker after the great year at Michigan State.
Also, for 40 years, the people in Tuscaloosa felt that if you touched Bear Bryant's leg, you were qualified to be a head coach at Alabama.
I'm just telling you what I hear. I'm not trying to start a fight. But Caleb, why do you go why that direction? Why do you go that way?
I think Cristobal. One, I think the FAU schools are very underrated jobs. Again, that area of Florida, you're in the Sun Belt or Conference USA, and again, it's kind of like Louisiana, Dave, lower level of talent, but you can just go get some guys to run your program with that level of talent. And he had 2 winning seasons. Things fell apart pretty quick. Went to Oregon, and he's coasting off 2 back-to-back Pac-12 titles and 3 Pac-12 North titles. Okay, one of those Pac-12 titles was 2020. He went 4-3. That was COVID year. Nothing counts during COVID. I'm trying to tell people that the COVID year doesn't count unless you're the SEC and you played a full season.
No, I'm with you. Now, let me tell you why Ryan Day is the right answer and your 3 aren't.
I mean, I don't like Ryan Day. I just don't think he's overrated because I think his seat's starting to get warm there, but I'll listen.
Okay. They essentially ran off Urban Meyer. They thought Ryan Day was the golden boy and Urban Meyer had baggage, but they didn't think they were going to take a monster step down. I can tell you this from good sources at Ohio State. They didn't think they were going to take a monster step down, and arguably they haven't. They've still competed for championships, but I would say Urban Meyer's a Hall of Fame coach, so they have taken a major step down, Caleb, in my opinion. So if you run off a Hall of Fame coach, the 3 guys you mentioned, all fantastic candidates, but you didn't run off a college football Hall of Fame coach to get this guy. And that's exactly what they did. They wanted to make that transition and that move, and they made it, in my opinion, way too hastily. And part of the reasons because Tennessee made a run at their defense coordinator, Greg Schiano, and they thought that staff was going to get torn apart. And that's why they kind of promised Ryan Day the job before you know it. Sort of thing. Wink, wink. You're not going to have to wait around for 5 years. So you ran a Hall of Famer out essentially to get Ryan Day. That would be like running off Philip Fulmer to get John Chavis.
There is yes, but Dave, there's a huge factor you're missing here, which is had they not run Urban Meyer off, Urban Meyer has the great fortune of having bailed on programs before the damage he caused was fully seen. He bailed on Florida before the damage of his lack of discipline really showed. Had he stayed at Ohio State, recruiting would have really started to suffer because Urban Meyer's reputation at that point as a guy who didn't care when his Florida players were out here murdering people and then didn't care when his assistant coach was out here beating his wife, okay, and was covering up for it, that was going to show up in recruiting and the program would have collapsed. You had to run him off at that point.
I agree, but I've seen the flip side where they hold on. ADs will hold on to those coaches until the bitter end. There has to be like a double felony before they'll make that move.